Hey everybody, this is Jackie from the Australian Incupod. You are tuning into the second part of our interview with Toby from Creative Cubes. Part 2 of this interview, Toby reveals his motivation behind building Creative Cubes, the most challenging parts of being an entrepreneur, and his opinion on doing business with his family and friends. Okay, so Toby, just before when we were offline, you were saying about how Creative Cubes isn't about you. Could you elaborate on that a bit?
Yeah, sure. So, like for me, going back to sort of 03 to 13, I've got a beautiful family. I've got a wife, kids, extended family, parents, grandparents, aunts, uncles, sisters, mother-in-laws, amazing people, right? But entrepreneurially, I've never felt more alone in my entire life. My wife couldn't relate to me as much as she tried to understand it. It was like me talking another language, and she hadn't been educated in that language. And I just come home and she's like, "You're talking gibberish. I don't understand what you're saying." And so when I went to this co-working space in Santa Monica, California, I became alive, and I just really was able to surround myself with people that wanted to win and all the rest of it. And so really, I was out for dinner the other night with the Australian government of all people. And one of the governors said, or one of the people from the Victorian government said, "Toby, what's in it for you building co-working spaces?" And really, what's in it for me is what was not in it for me when I was an entrepreneur, or I still am an entrepreneur, but on my ventures. And so really, Creative Cubes is not about Toby trying to make money. Creative Cubes is about trying to build a community of like-minded professionals from startup all the way to Uber Eats, who all reside in the same building, and have those people surround themselves with other like-minded people that also want to win in order to help them gain on the venture that they're deploying their talents against. And so Creative Cubes, really, we look at ourselves more like the tide that helps all the, the tide that rises helps all the boats, right? That's what Creative Cubes is in a nutshell.
So before we mentioned about the startup and the first start of your journey, we want to talk a bit about the middle part.
Yep.
So all the hardships and failures and learnings you had there.
Totally.
Do you want to tell us a bit about those?
How long have we got? There's a ton of...
Maybe just a key learning that you'll be like, that was a real...
Yeah, I think that I think that people out there are really striving to find that silver bullet where they can just shoot and score and be done with it. I don't think it works like that. In fact, I know it doesn't work like that. I think that all of those and my experiences about all of those helped get an outcome. Here, when we look at like Creative Cubes, is it the digital marketing that's working, that's getting all these people in? Is it the PR stories? Is it the feel-good experience that people are having when they, come here and concierge or our happiness team like serves them like kings and queens and princesses and princes? Like I think, or is it, hey, I stumbled into this place and like came here for an event and I'm like, holy crap, this is an incredible build. Or is it just the energy that you feel when you walk in the building? My answer is all of that makes what Creative Cubes is today. So I don't think there's any one, coming back to your question, I don't think there's any one hardship lesson. There's dishonest people you've got to be careful of. There's a lot of sharks out there. There's mood swing people that show up one day like high as a kite and happy to be here, and then like evil as fuck the next day, and you can't get them to move. And then there's all the bullshit as well, right? I'm going to come to the company and I'm going to be the best person on the team and I should be the managing director of this company in a minute. Cool. Prove yourself. Prove yourself is not falling asleep at lunchtime or going home and going horse riding or, just being a real jackass and trying to cheat the system. And so, there's a lot of heartache. I view myself as a good person. And if you want to do wrong by me, then shame on you. But if I fall for it, kind of shame on me.
Yeah.
And so I've fallen for a lot of BS. So I had a national sales manager who was employed. I lived in America at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and he was employed, and he seemed like a real decent go-get-em guy. So I thought I saw the good in him. He spun a story that his wife and kids were in a car accident in Malta.
Oh wow.
Huh? He sold it. He's like, dude, like I can't come to work. Like I've got to get on a plane to Malta. Like my family's in fucking trouble, and my heart went to my feet. And this guy's a fucking prick, by the way. You don't spin stories like that. I accept a little bit of BS, and so I'm like, man, like how can we help you? Turns out all the economy seats to Malta are full, so we ended up because he had no money, buying him a business class ticket to Malta to be with his family. And we spent the money. We gave him the money to go do it. It turns out he was on the Australia versus Maltese cricket team.
Oh my god.
He's not married. He doesn't have kids. And he fucking lied. So I cancelled his airplane ticket back and left him there. And then he had the audacity to come back and say, hey, man, like, really sorry I fucked up. But do you think you can just, like, sign these papers so I can collect the doll? Because I'm unemployed at the moment. And I'm like, fuck you. What goes around comes around, man. So there's been stories like that. There's probably like 6 or 7, not to that extreme, but just shitty stories where it's like who are you to even think of some like horrible story or horrible situation to take my goodwill and sort of deploy it against evil, right? So there's been stories like that. Really cool story going on right now with some jackass that thought he did some work here and sent us an invoice. and I go to my business partners here at Creative Cubes. I'm like, guys, did you order this? No. What about you? Did you order? No. Can you just check your inbox? Did you commit and say yes to this? No. Mate, we're not paying that invoice. That's not for us.
You see that all the time. My mom gets that a lot, just saying like you've made a massive purchase order on something, and my mom's like, no, we haven't. And
just odd. Let's talk about something more positive.
Yeah.
Because there's a ton of rat bags out there. And really, I do want to say this, though. There's a ton of rat bags that have come to Creative Cubes, and Happiness Team have stopped them. Not from coming in. Yeah. Like, you can come and tour, but then they go, oh, yeah, will you send me an invite for membership? We politely decline the opportunity to serve them because we want really quality, talented people in here that feel safe. And those rat bags need to stay outside. So, yeah.
Yeah, I think it's really important that we do touch on a lot of these things, though, because a lot of them are like bullshit that a lot of entrepreneurs have to go through. And there's a lot of like traps out there, I'm sure.
A ton of traps. Yeah. I actually had one of our members was approached a couple weeks, or maybe last week, with some angel investment where the guy was like, in the agreement, it was like, as an angel investor, no matter what you do, I have zero dilution. Right? So I'm going to invest $100,000 now. And as the business grows, even though I'm not going to put more money in, my equity position grows. And by the way, if you raise more money, I'm also I get a cut of that.
Oh, what?
Like, that guy's a fucking shark. You need to stay away. So there's a lot of, you need to censor the bullshit. You really do. And don't censor it against yourself. Because as an entrepreneur, you always want to like, oh no, it'll be okay. We'll just sign the deal and like, we'll make a ton of money. And you end up fucking yourself really badly. But so make sure you sensory check it with other people. Get fresh eyes on stuff all the time. We have a process here at Creative Cubes where we'll work hard on a project, or we'll work hard on a deal, or we'll work hard on some sort of investment, and then we'll walk away from it for a week and just clear the head and then come back to it with fresh eyes and adjust. And I don't know if we always get it right because you live and learn. But I think that's a really clean approach that we try and take the emotional out of. Like, no, let's just do it. You know, like slow the fuck down. This is not a sprint; it's a marathon. And you know, one of the things that I really admire from my days at PetSafe is they run around with a mantra on their t-shirt: "Built to last." Right? Randy Boyd built this business from 1991 all the way through now. It's one of the most dominant global pet businesses in the world. And, you know, it's built to last. He wants to have a legacy. And I really admire that. A lot of people, myself included, are very impatient. I think you just need to just slow down. And I'm eating my own dog food right now because I don't slow down. and just execute and not try to sprint the marathon, and try and stay in the game. Sometimes time is what you need, more so than anything.
So what do you think about family and friends helping you out in business? Because I think you started Petloo, you mentioned before, with your wife.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think about, because there's a lot of myth out there. There's
super
a myth
dangerous.
Out like bullshit, don't do
Super
business with
dangerous.
friends and family.
Yeah. It's super dangerous because you're balancing two things. And by the way, I say that my father-in-law, who's really my father, because I didn't have a father as a kid, my father-in-law, and I've been with Sim for nearly 15 years now. My father-in-law acts like my father, and he's a partner here at Creative Cubes because he couldn't help himself. He just wants to get involved in ventures, back me and make sure that, you know, I'm safe as well, and give me the advice that I definitely need at times. And so I say that. So I say it's super dangerous, but on the other side, not to be hypocritical, like I've got an amazing father-in-law that we can really jostle with each other and know that at the end of the day, we love each other and nothing's going to change that. No matter how well or how bad a situation is, we're always going to kind of be okay. We're always going to be okay with each other, more than okay with each other. And so, but on the flip side, it's super dangerous. And I tell you why, because you're constantly balancing commercial interests with, if I do that, I'm going to fuck this. And there's a relationship there. And I've seen relationships get burnt. I've got a friend that's involved with another friend. Their relationship is not good at the moment because the commercial business isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, or it's one of them's trying to achieve it and the other one's just like given up. And so this other guy's got a dead weight around his legs trying to run forward with the ball. It's fucking hard, man. And so if you can avoid it, avoid it. I think that you should have someone maybe from an advisory perspective, just looking out for your interests. As you look to raise venture capital, you can get consumed. So you've got to be, making sure that you don't have foggy eyes because the dollar signs. I used to say the Hollywood lights because I lived in LA. Make sure the Hollywood lights don't get you. And what I mean by that is people in Hollywood are promised to be famous and they got to do, some really dirty stuff to get themselves to the top. Like if you look at the outbreak right now with some of this stuff coming out in Hollywood with some of these famous, I'm not going to say his name. I don't want to get sued, but you see what's going on there. Like a lot of people have been promised big roles in big things for doing dirty stuff that they're not material.
What do you do outside of Creative Cubes? You say you like to go running, and how important is that work-life balance?
Yeah, so it's something that I'm not great at because my head's constantly calculating. But I've got two little kids. I think you saw her one of my youngest daughters this morning. I didn't come into the office till 11 because she has this play group on a Thursday morning, and my wife had to go to an appointment. So I checked myself out and said, I'm going to school with my daughter, and then brought her here, and then Simi picked her up on her way back from her appointment. So I've got two beautiful kids, and Sim constantly reminds me in a very polite and gentle, loving way that you need to be present when you're doing stuff. So right now, I'm 100% focused on executing this podcast with you. Whatever's going on around us is completely irrelevant. And the same thing is very, very important, especially for impressionable young kids, that when I'm there, I'm really focused on them. And that's something that's not easy because it's easy just to slip to the phone and just check the email or check Slack or Twitter. Like I get smashed on Twitter every day with a ton of questions and people seeking advice. And so I think the key is to be present. And that's me talking like my wife right now in every aspect. So when I go running, I'm trying not to think about work. I'm trying to think about my stride and my distance and my pace and my fitness level.
So just so I can touch base back again on the start. So moving to another country is a pretty big gamble.
Yeah.
So is it a calculated risk or?
No calculation. Just
went for it.
Yeah. So there's a saying, throw yourself to the wolves, come back a leader. Mate, I just throw myself in the eye of the storm. I back myself 100%. 100% focused on execution. I couldn't care less about the Hollywood lights. I care most about executing the craft and the vision, and getting my teammates subscribed to the vision and jumping on that mission and executing 100%. So in terms of like going abroad, that was just an opportunity to expand commercially, but also expand professionally. So I've got a really strong network in the US, never done anything wrong by any one of my customers, members, staff, whatever, always done right. And, you know, I think that that experience was, you know, it's one I definitely never forget. My kids were born there. I think I'll always have ties to Los Angeles and the United States. But initially it was to live abroad and sort of grow as a person. And I had a vehicle, being Pet Lou, to go and do that.
So just to wrap this up, Toby, what's one tip that you'll give to our listeners who are at the idea stage and want to create something? What's one tip you'll give to them?
Yeah, so I think if I can split that into two, one is surround yourself with people that want to help you win. That's critical. If you're not getting the support, find that support. And two, execute. Don't talk about it. There's a lot of people out there. I think Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks owner, coined the term wantrepreneur.
Yeah.
A lot of people want to be an entrepreneur, but few are prepared to stand the storm. Or a lot of people are prepared to. Or a lot of people want to eat, but few are prepared to hunt. And so you got to go hunting. And I think Australia, generally speaking, there's a lot of farmers here, and I mean that by attitude, not by literally people farming cows and cattle. Yeah. I think you need to be a hunter, not a farmer, as an entrepreneur. And if you're not a hunter, if you don't have that hunting instinct in you, like you need to find it, or you'll forever be a wantrepreneur.
Thanks for coming on, Toby. It was a really awesome podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on, Toby.
Cheers.
That concludes our interview with Toby. You can find Creative Cubes at creativecubes.com. For more information on the Australian Incupod, visit us at australianincupod.com. Make sure to leave a review and follow us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and our website to stay up to date with our latest episodes.